We begin today at the Mishnah, Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, the last Mishnah of Masechta Gittin, Daf Tzadik, Amud Aleph, right at the top of the Yomid. Zog the Heilige Mishnah, Beis Shammai Oimrim, Beis Shammai say, Lo Yigarish Adam es Ishtoi, a person shouldn't divorce his wife, Elo Amkei Motza Ba Dvar Erva, unless he finds within her inappropriate behavior, Dvar Erva. Shenemar ki motza ba ervas davar. That's what the pasuk says when it says about divorcing a wife. So it says ki kachishisho lemitzachem ve'enov, and then it says ki motza ba ervas davar. So that's the only time a person is allowed to divorce his wife. As we'll see later on in the Gemara, this doesn't only mean in a situation where Mamish has verified that she had a relation with someone else, or even maybe like the case of a Saita, where we're there, that's the whole parsha of Saita, where it says clearly in the Torah that he's not allowed to be with her. But even in a case where he sees other things in her behavior that indicate that there's an ervas davar, that's a reason why he should divorce his wife. But again, as you see here in the Lashon of Beis Shammai, simple pshat of what Beis Shammai is saying, and this is the way most Rishonim explain this whole Mishnah with all the opinions here, that he's not telling you some good advice regarding when yes to divorce and when not. What Beis Shammai is saying is kipshutei. If not for this, then it's asur, and a person may not divorce his wife. Beis say, even if she burnt his food, that's enough of a reason that he could divorce her. Shenamar, because the pasuk says, Ki motza ba ervas davar. So Beis teaches that ervas is one thing and davar is something else. Now this Gdicha Tavshila, it says in Mefarshim that it means that she's doing this intentionally. If she's burning his food intentionally, so then it's reason for divorce. So Rashi here teaches the Mishnah literally, as the Kiddicha means she burns his food. But the Rambam teaches what it says here in the Mishnah more broadly, that a Gdicha Tavshila means that the nature, they're not compatible. That she wants the food to be very salted, and he wants it to be very not salted. And they have, food is just one example, but it could be in any other area in life, in their personality, that there's a clash, that they can't live with one another. And she's intentionally behaving in one way because that's who she is, not necessarily despite, and he's different, and they're not compatible, basically. That's a reason for a get. Rabbi Kiva says, even if he finds another wife which is more beautiful and he wants to divorce and marry someone else, that's also allowed. Shenema, because the pasuk says, and that's the beginning of the pasuk there says, and it'll be that if his wife doesn't find grace in his eyes, so then over there, because of laseifa krisis. Now, these three opinions here in the Mishnah, there's a beautiful sikha from the Rebbe about this, Barichas and Chelik Dalet Parshas Kiseitze, where the Rebbe explains what's really the background of their opinion, Beruchni Yisan Yanim and Avedis Hashem, and also regarding the relationship between Ish and Isha, that there's really the source of the Inyan. Mitzvah Hashem make the siyum the next time, that tomorrow night we'll go through the Teichen Advarim that the Rebbe speaks about in the sikha. Okay, let's continue with the Gemara. Zok the Heilige Gemara.
A person is allowed to marry two wives.
Right, correct. But if he doesn't want to have two wives, he wants only one. He's allowed to divorce one to marry another. Tanya Amru Beis Hillel Beis Shammai. So in the Braise, there's more to the argument here in the discussion that there was between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. So Beis Hillel said to Beis Shammai, "Va'aloi kvar nema davar." It says in the pasuk, the word davar doesn't just say ki matzava erva, but it says the word davar. That means it is something else as well that could be a basis for divorce. Amrullah and Beis Shammai. So Beis Shammai answers, but v'aloi kvar nema ervas. But the pasuk says ervas, so he reads ervas davar together as one thing. That just means only if you see something that shows an inappropriate behavior, then you could divorce. Amrullah and Beis Hillel. So Beis Hillel says the back and as follows: Im nema ervas v'loi nema davar. If all the pasuk would say is that he could divorce his wife if he sees an erva, then I would say, Mishum erva teitze. If there's inappropriate behavior, then she has to leave, he could divorce her. But Mishum davar le teitze. If there's another matter that is not working out between them, he doesn't divorce her. Lakach nema davar. So therefore the Torah adds the word davar to say that even something like hikdicha tafshiloi is also grounds for divorce. On the other hand, v'ilo nema davar, if it would only say davar, and the question is, now that it says that even for something like hikdicha tafshiloi, that's enough to divorce a wife, so then why does it say ervas? V'loi nema ervas, if it would not say ervas, then I would say, Mishum davar, if he's divorcing her because of something between them, she's burning his food, or like I said, the Rambam, they're not compatible, then tinas el acher. So then she can get divorced from him and marry someone else. But in Mishum Erva, the reason the pasuk is not saying Erva is because in a case where he sees inappropriate behavior in her, so then when he divorces her, she shouldn't be allowed to get married to anyone else. Such a woman should not get married to anyone else. Ervas. Therefore, the pasuk here says both Ervas and Dovar to say that in both cases it's a grounds for divorce and she's allowed to get married to someone else. But Beishamai, how will they explain this? Why does the pasuk say the term Dovar if Beishamai says the only time a person is allowed to divorce his wife is if he found the Matzah Badvar Erva? So Hai Dovar Mayavdile. What did they learn out from the extra word Dovar? The answer is a Gzeira Shavat that's brought many times that you learn from this word Dovar. Nemakan Dovar. Here the pasuk says he found Ervas Dovar, so it uses the expression of Dovar. And then by Edim, for money matters, it says Dovar as well. Al Pishnai Edim or Al Pishleisha Edim Yokum Dovar. Ma'ala Alon B'Shnei Edim, just like by money matters, you could only paskin and take out money with Edim. Avkan B'Shnei Edim. Here as well, you have to have two Edim. When it comes to matters of Ishus and of Erva, you have to have two Edim. So that's what you learn out from the extra word of Dovar. But it's not used to explain when a person, the Torah is not saying with this extra word Dovar that there could be something else that's ground for divorce other than Erva. Or Beis Hillel, what did Beis Hillel say about this? Why don't they use the word Dovar here for this Gzeira Shava? Or because they'll tell you Miksiv Erva Bid Dovar. Does it say in the Torah the term Erva Bid Dovar? Bid Dovar would mean like with Edim, with Dovar is not the sibba of why you're divorcing, but the way Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai that is teaching it, that when you found the Erva Bid Dovar with Edim. So the word Bid Dovar then would be like Beis Shammai said. But it doesn't say that, it says Ervas Dovar. So therefore Dovar means that there's some other thing here that you discovered about your wife that you can't live with her. Beis Shammai argues and says, Miksiv, according to Beis Hillel, does it say in the pasuk, Oy Erva, Oy Dovar? Beis Hillel is saying that the pasuk really means to say two separate things. Either he found a Dvar Erva in her, or he found another Dovar, Ikdicha Tavshiloi. But it doesn't say in the pasuk, Oy or Oy. But Beis Hillel will answer to you, Lahachiksiv Ervas Davar, the pasuk writes, Ervas Davar, the mashma hachi. It can be read as one thing, Ervas Davar, that he found something inappropriate, but mashma hachi. But it also is mashma that the word davar could be read separately, because it doesn't say erva bid davar, where it's clear that it's one thing. It says ervas, and then it says davar. So you could also understand it as davar being separate. So the very fact that the pasuk is written in such a eifin that it could be read together, ervas davar, and it could be read davar as separately, that's enough of a reason that we do darshan the word davar separately to say that even if dicha tavshila is enough of a reason for divorce. Then the Mishnah says, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Akiva says even if he finds another woman that's nicer for him, he can go and marry her. Or he could divorce his first wife. That's mainly is over here, and then he's going to marry someone else. So what's the machlokes here? What's the source of Rabbi Akiva? Says the Gemara B'der Rish Lakish. They're arguing in what Rish Lakish said. The Amar Rish Lakish says, ki, when you have in the Torah the word ki, mishamish bedalad l'shainis. It can be translated in 4 different ways. Ki could mean if, dilma, perhaps, ella, which would be but or rather, and daha, because. So over here, in the pasuk, when it says, ki kachishisha ubala, v'haya im loy simtzachem be'inav, ki matzah ba'ervas dava. How do we understand these 2 parts of the pasuk? Loy simtzachem be'inav, and then ki matzah ba'ervas dava. Beishamai say v'hoya im loy simtzachem be'einov. When it says first in the pasuk that she doesn't find grace in his eyes, or he doesn't find grace in her eyes. Again, v'hoya im loy simtzachem be'einov, that she doesn't find grace in his eyes. Ki matzah ba'ervas dava. What is how do you read the ki over here? That there's a reason for this. There's a cause. Something happened here. What? There's an ervas dava. The matzah ba'ervas dava. So we read the ki as deha, because it's not 2 separate points. The reason there's a problem between them is because Matzah Ba'ervas Dava, he sees inappropriate behavior. So therefore there's no other reason that the pasuk is saying it to divorce. But Rabbi Akiva says, Ki Matzah Ba'ervas Dava, when it says ki, what does the ki over here mean? Inami. Or it's like it's another point over here. If he finds in her Ervas Dava. Just like we said before, one of the Lashonos of the ki is if, So too over here, when it says ki matzah ba'erves davar, that's saying a separate point. The first point is v'hayim leisimtza chen be'inav. It's one thing, one reason to divorce. And then there's another point, ki matzah ba'erves davar. If he finds the erves davar, that is another point. So it's two different reasons.
You can count a second thing.
Well, one or the other. You don't have to have both. So therefore, Rabbi Kiva says that v'hayim leisimtza chen be'inav is understood separately from the ki matzah ba'erves davar. Rav Papa says to Rava, what happens if a person didn't find anything inappropriate regarding his wife? Not an erve and not a dover that Basil spoke about. She burns his food. And he went and he divorced her anyways. What happens now b'diavad after the fact that he divorced her? Does he have to go ahead and remarry her because Apitayri he wasn't allowed to divorce her? Amalei, so Rava answered, since the Torah tells me this halacha, this chiddush, when it comes to someone that has a relation with a woman, with a single woman against her will, an einis. So there it says that he must marry her, and lo yuchal l'shalcha kol yomav. His entire lifetime he may not divorce her. And what that means is, even if he ends up divorcing her, even b'diyevet, he must remarry her. Kol yomav ba'amoid v'hachzakoi. Over there the Torah is saying that his entire life, even if he divorced her, even after the fact, he must remarry her. So there the Torah is saying this chiddush. There, in such a case, the Torah says that he must always be married to her. Over here, by a get, even though the Torah tells you the reasons when he should divorce and when not, and there's an isser, nevertheless, once he divorced her, the get takes effect and he doesn't have to remarry her. Rav Mishar told Rava, if a person in his heart made up his mind that he wants to divorce his wife, and she's still living with him. He's living with her and he's not divorcing her. Umisham Shasa, she's living with him, marital relations with him. Mahu. How do we define that? What does Torah have to say about such a situation? So Kari Alea, so he said, on this we read what the pasuk says, Al tachrish re'ach al re'acha ra, v'hu yoshev lebetach itcha. Don't be thinking negative on your friend, and he's sitting with you confidently, not realizing that you really are thinking bad about him. Same with a person and his wife. If he is already disconnected to her and he feels like he wants to divorce her and he doesn't do that, he doesn't or speak to her, communicate with her openly about this, so then this is worse even than a person that's being open and saying clearly where he's holding. Tanya, we learned in Abraisa, Rab Meir said that kishem shahadei is b'meichel, just like there are various different attitudes when it comes to food, how particular a person is with the food that he eats and something that's schmutz, or as we'll see here, a fly that goes into the food. Kach dei is b'noshim. So too, there are various different attitudes that husbands have with the behavior of their wives. And there's certain behaviors or certain attitudes which are extreme, and then there's sort of the normal and average and proper approach a person should have. As the Gemara describes, Yesh l'cha adam, you have a person, if a fly goes into his cup, so he spills out the whole thing. He doesn't only take out the fly, but he spills out the whole thing and he doesn't drink it. This is the way Papas ben Yehuda also behaved with his wife. He locked the doors for his wife and he didn't allow her to go out. He was very afraid that she should speak with anyone. And even when she went into the street, he didn't let her talk to anybody out of a fear that she might get into an inappropriate relationship. He was very extreme with her. And the Mefarshim actually bring from what it says in another place. I think it was Masechta Shabbos, there the Gemara says, and in the end, she actually was Mizana. Meaning a husband behaving so extreme with his wife, he won't gain anything. Adarabah. It'll only cause her to be upset about this and look for something else. On the other hand, v'yesh l'cha adam shezvov neifel atech kaisai. You have a person that a fly goes into his cup, v'zorkai. So this is actually the average, the middle way. So he throws out the fly, v'sheiseyo, and the remainder of the cup he drinks. V'zuhi midas kol adam. This is the behavior of people, the average people, shemidaberes semachel krivel, that he allows his wife to speak to her brothers, her relatives. Umanicha, she's speaking, that is. She's speaking to her brothers and relatives, Umanicha, and he allows her. He's not concerned that she may come to do things inappropriate. But it's all, with a proper measure. But then you have a person that's on the other extreme, that he has a fly that went into a dish of food, and he doesn't care. And he sucks it and eats it. He eats the food with the fly, with the dirt that's in it, and it doesn't matter to him. Zuhi midas adam ra. This is the level of a behavior of a person that's bad. He sees his wife going out in the street. Her hair is uncovered. And she's weaving in the marketplace. Ufruma and her garment is exposed and open from both sides, where it's not sneers. And and she bathes with other people, and he doesn't care about it. So the Gemara interjects over here right away. Wait a minute, the Braisa seems to be going a little bit too far over here. In Bnei Adam Salkitaitach, is a mamish speaking about a situation where his wife is bathing with other people, with other men? In such a case, Rashi says, the Gemara's question is, this is not Adam Ra, which is not being particular enough with his wife. This is a case where it's this mamish raglayim lodava, that this is a zaina, and he has to be megarisher min atayra. So why is the Braisa saying that this is just the Adam Ra? Ella, so the Gemara clarifies, b'makayim shebnei adam reichtzen. She doesn't bathe with others, but she goes to bathe even in a place where she's exposed to others. There are others there that are in the area, they're getting dressed and so on, and goes there as well. So zu mitzvah min atayra legarsha. So over here, there's a mitzvah min atayra to be megarish, even though it's not mamish the ervas dava zayna, which is mamish aser, but nevertheless, here, this is what the Torah means, and this is what Beishamai in the Mishnah meant when it says that it's a mitzvah to divorce. Shenema ki motzaba ervas davar. That's the ervas davar that he spoke about. And the pasuk says, "V'shulcha mi beisai v'halcha v'hoisa leish acher," that he sends her from her house, from his house, and she goes and she marries someone else. So the Gemara explains, "Hakas of kadai acher." The Torah refers to him as acher. Loima to say she'ein zeh ben zugei l'rishain. Then this is not a good wife for the first husband. Now the first husband divorces this wife because she's a risha, and here the second husband doesn't care about this, and he's marrying such a kind of a woman. So he shouldn't be doing this. Zacha. So the Gemara says, so therefore, if the second husband will merit zacha sheni, that is shalcha, he's also going to end up divorcing her. He's going to realize that he shouldn't marry her, shouldn't be married to her. Shenema, as the pasuk says, and then what happens is that the second husband will also hate her. He'll realize that he shouldn't be marrying her. Vim lav, if he doesn't realize this and he stays married to this wife, which is Arisha, koivrasai, he'll end up dying before her, and she's going to bury him. Shenema, as the pasuk there says, oy ki yamos ha'isha, or if the second husband will die. Kedai hu b'misa. It's fitting that he should die before her. The first husband divorced her. Why? Because she was a risha, because of the ervas davar, her whole behavior. And here, this person is going ahead and marrying such a woman. So therefore, in this case, either he should also divorce her, or in the end, he ends up dying before her. Okay, this is the last nakuda that we'll stop by for today, and the actual siyum will make him Mitzvah Shem tomorrow night. Okay, Messiah and Metayv, that maybe should give everybody Shalom al Yisrael, that it should be, it's interesting also, it's another thing in Mishnah that we'll discuss tomorrow. You would think that maybe this Mishnah should be the very first Mishnah of the Masechta. Right? This is the Mishnah that's discussing the cause, the beginning of the whole story. Right? When is there grounds for divorce and when not? And then from there you can go forward from all the other details. It's very interesting. Not only this Mishnah, this Mishnah, but the last Perek of the Masechta have the most basic halachas of a get. It tells you the nusach of the get and how you write a get. The whole halacha of Rabbi Lazar and Rabbi Meir, whether Eidech Chsim and Bekarti, do you need signatures? Do you not need signatures? It speaks about it in the Masechta all the time, but the Mishnah about it is tafke here in the last Perek. The last Perek is where the most important parts of a get are. Okay.